Pope Leo XIV. Tagle stun Vatican. Prophecy unfolds today. In Rome today, a silence fell over the marble halls of the Vatican, broken only by the echo of footsteps that carried with them something no one expected. Pope Leo XIV, after only 100 days in the chair of Peter, has already defied centuries of expectation, and alongside Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the Church itself seems to tremble, as if prophecy whispered long ago is unfolding before our very eyes. His papacy began with calm gestures, peace, unity, a gentle hand extended to the poor and forgotten. A lunch with the homeless at Castel Gandolfo, lasagna and bread shared like Christ-breaking loaves on the hillside. And yet, within those simple acts, the great ones say they see the hidden sign of something far more divine, far more dangerous. On August 15th, while the world's leaders clashed in summit halls, Leo XIV raised his voice, not for war, not for power, but for peace. And though he never named the nations, his words struck like lightning, sending chills through diplomats, soldiers, and even cardinals themselves. Was it merely coincidence, or the stirring of the Spirit in this hour of trial? Some now whisper, he is no ordinary pope. And then, something even more unsettling. For the first time in modern history, the successor of Peter has refused the isolation of palace walls. He lives not alone, but among brothers, Augustinian friars walking the same corridors, praying the same prayers, eating the same meals. To some, it looks humble. To others, it looks like a signal. A new way, a new beginning, or perhaps the last beginning. But what stunned the Vatican most was not the Pope alone. It was Cardinal Tagle, known for his humility, his gentleness, his voice that has moved millions in Asia. Today he walked beside Leo with eyes of fire. Witnesses, said his words to the Pope, spoken in private, carried weight far beyond politics. And when both men stepped out before the faithful side by side, the crowd gasped. It was as though two streams of prophecy converged. East and west, humility and power, priest and shepherd, all flowing into one great wave that the Church cannot stop. Rumors swirl, heritage long hidden in Leo's bloodline, the possibility of the first black pope, the name he chose inspired not by tradition alone, but by artificial intelligence itself, a sign of battles to come between machine and man. Critics raise their voices, survivors of old scandals demand justice, reformers cry out for more. And yet through it all, the Pope's steady gaze pierces through the storm. And beside him, Cardinal Tagle seems ready to bear the weight of secrets that only heaven knows. Some inside the Vatican claim the Council of Nicaea's anniversary this November will not be a mere commemoration, but a revelation. That Lebanon, Turkey, and beyond are not just diplomatic trips, but stages set for prophecy. That when Pope Leo XIV and Cardinal Tagle travel together, ancient words may finally break open, and the bride of Christ will be shaken to her core. The question remains, is this the dawn of a new Pentecost, or the trembling before a great chastisement? Every sign, every move, every word seems to carry more than human weight. And tonight, Catholics around the world whisper in prayer, Jesus, what are you revealing through your servants now? And so it begins. The whispers that once drifted through candlelit corridors are no longer whispers. They are shouts echoing through the very heart of the Catholic Church. Pope Leo XIV. Cardinal Tagle, standing as if chosen for this hour. Their steps together through St. Peter's Square shook not only the marble beneath their feet, but the conscience of the entire Church. Some cardinals smiled, others turned pale, eyes darting, as if secrets long buried had been touched by the light. For centuries, prophets spoke of a time when the papacy would be tested like never before, when factions would rise from within. The Vatican itself, cloaked in crimson robes, holding golden chalices, yet hiding daggers behind their backs. And now, as the world watches, those shadows seem to stir again. Behind closed doors, alliances form. Oaths are whispered, some pledging loyalty to Leo XIV, others swearing he must be stopped before the prophecy runs its course. The Pope's choice of name, Leo XIV, was not mere chance. He spoke of artificial intelligence, the age of machines, the dignity of man, in an era when humanity is being rewritten. But in the hidden halls of the Vatican, older men mutter of another reason. They recall Leo XIV, the Pope who heard the terrifying vision of Satan bargaining with God for the ruin of the Church. 100 years, given to the enemy. 100 years, and then the triumph of the Virgin. Is Leo XIV the continuation of that battle, or its conclusion? And then, Cardinal Tagle. To the world, a gentle shepherd. To Asia, a voice of hope. But within the Vatican, he is seen as something more dangerous. He carries not only humility, but prophecy in his eyes. The other night, he spoke words in a tongue he never studied, a language that startled even seasoned linguists. Some said it was ancient Greek, the language of the first councils. Others swore it was Aramaic, the very tongue of Christ himself. And those who heard him said chills ran down their spine, as if the Holy Spirit itself had passed through his lips. Pope Leo XIV's first 100 days were marked by gestures of mercy, feeding the poor, calling for peace, sharing a meal at Castel Gandolfo that mirrored the Last Supper. Yet behind those gestures lies something far more apocalyptic. Scholars point to the Book of Revelation, the banquet of the Lamb, the final feast before the heavens open and the King returns. Was this meal only charity, or a sign? And what of his living arrangement? No pope has lived this way in centuries, not in marble isolation, but in community among his Augustinian brothers. Some say it is humility, others say it is safety, for there are whispers of factions within the Curia who would see him fall, factions with power, wealth, and influence that stretches far beyond Rome. A communal life means watchful eyes, protection, a shield of brotherhood against enemies both, spiritual and political. Yet the true shock is not only what Leo XIV has done, but what he plans. Lebanon, Turkey, the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea. The last time bishops gathered there, the creed of the entire church was forged, and now some believe the next creed will be tested, purified by fire. Will the faith be united once again, or divided forever? The Catholic Church is no stranger to storms, but this storm feels different. The papacy itself, the bride of Christ, is standing at the edge of purification. The faithful look to Rome and ask, is this the dawn of an age of renewal, or the shaking before judgment? Every sign points to a cosmic clash between light and darkness, between truth and deception, between Christ and the ancient serpent who has never stopped hissing at the gates of Peter, and in the middle of it all, two men, Pope Leo XIV and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, a pope who speaks of peace, yet whose name carries the roar of lions, a cardinal whose voice may have spoken in the very tongue of Christ. Together, they have stunned the Vatican. Together, they have awakened prophecy. Together, they may carry the weight of the next chapter of salvation history. But the question remains, will they walk into glory or into betrayal? The hour is late. The world trembles, and the bride of Christ prepares to be purified by fire. Then listen closely, because what is happening in Rome right now is not politics. Not diplomacy, not ceremony. It is battle, a spiritual battle, raging beneath the gilded ceilings of the apostolic palace. The world sees a smiling pope, a gentle cardinal, the church feeding the hungry, praying for peace. But behind those marble doors, alliances fracture, secrets boil, and ancient forces stir. The Catholic Church, the bride of Christ, has endured 2,000 years of storms, but never like this. Never with the world on the brink of collapse, nations arming themselves with weapons that can scorch the earth, technology rewriting humanity itself, and faith shaken to its very core. And now, in this trembling hour, Pope Leo XIV and Cardinal Tagle are at the center. Some cardinals whisper he is too bold, too fast, too willing to embrace a dangerous future. Others whisper he is not bold enough, that he is hiding something, waiting, preparing for a revelation that will split the church in two. And Tagle, the Filipino cardinal whose tears once moved millions, his very presence now divides. To some, he is the future. To others, he is the threat. But prophecy does not wait for permission. Prophecy bursts forth when heaven decides. And signs are multiplying. The poor fed at Castel Gandolfo as if Christ himself broke bread again. The Pope praying on August 15th, words of peace as world leaders prepared for war. A communal life chosen inside the apostolic palace. No longer the lonely king, but a shepherd among his flock. Do you see it? Every act, every gesture feels like a riddle unfolding, a message hidden in plain sight. And then, the shock. A genealogical report that shook Rome. Could Leo XIV be the first black pope in history? Hidden Creole, Haitian roots, whispered in family records but never spoken aloud. For some, a curiosity. For others, a sign. The church that has reached every race, every nation, every soul, now bearing a leader who carries the very bloodline of the forgotten. Coincidence or prophecy? But with prophecy, always comes opposition. Survivors demand justice for old wounds. Powerful factions demand silence. And the Pope, standing in the eye of the storm, knows his every move is being watched, not only by faithful Catholics, but by forces that would love to see the church collapse from within. And at his side, Tagle, humble, quiet, yet burning with something that cannot be contained. There are whispers of a night, one night, when he prayed, and his words slipped into a language he never learned. Some swore it was Greek. Others cried it was Aramaic. The very words of Jesus. What does it mean when a cardinal speaks the tongue of Christ without study, without preparation? Is this miracle or warning? And all of this builds toward what lies ahead. Lebanon, Turkey, the Council of Nicaea's 1100th anniversary, the place where the creed of the faith was forged, now becoming the stage for what could be the most decisive moment of our time. Will the papacy stand united? Or will the creed itself be tested? Some theologians already whisper, this could be the hour when the bride of Christ is purified, stripped of her stains, her corruption, her compromises, purified by fire. So, she may stand ready for the coming of the bridegroom, but purification never comes gently. It comes with division. It comes with betrayal. It comes with a clash of powers so great that even the faithful tremble. The factions inside the Vatican are not merely disagreements over policy. They are battles of ideology, of truth versus deception, of light against shadows. And as these shadows rise, the faithful must ask, who truly stands with Christ and who stands against him, cloaked in red? Pope Leo XIV, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. Two names spoken now with fear and hope, with suspicion and awe. Together they walk like brothers, but heaven alone knows if their path leads to glory or to martyrdom. Every sign points to the beginning of something greater, something darker, something divine. The Vatican walls are shaking, the bride of Christ is being prepared, and prophecy is unfolding today. The Vatican, tonight, does not sleep. Beneath the glowing lamps of St. Peter's Square, pilgrims kneel and pray, sensing that history itself is trembling. They whisper the rosary, their voices weaving together like a shield. For they know, deep within, that a storm greater than any seen before is breaking upon the Church. Pope Leo XIV, calm on the surface, walks with the serenity of a man who knows both glory and danger have chosen him. His eyes carry peace, but also fire. And beside him, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, his heart burning with the weight of prophecy, feels the gaze of millions. Two men, united in spirit, yet surrounded by shadows that creep closer each hour. The papacy is no longer simply an office, it is a battlefield. The bride of Christ herself is under siege, not from the outside alone, but from within her own walls. Red robes conceal daggers, smiles hide oaths of betrayal. Secret factions meet in candlelit rooms, whispering strategies, plotting against the Vicar of Christ, weighing whether Leo XIV must be silenced before he speaks the prophecy that heaven has entrusted to him. And through the corridors of the apostolic palace, an ancient struggle intensifies, angels and demons locked in combat, their clash felt in every prayer, every mass, every cry for mercy. The Pope's first 100 days revealed humility, charity, and shocking simplicity. A meal for the poor that resembled the Last Supper, words for peace that echoed across battlefields. A life chosen not in isolation, but in brotherhood. Yet these gestures, to those with eyes to see, are not just charity. They are warnings, signs, signals that prophecy is alive. For the Church is entering her hour of testing, her hour of purification, her hour of fire, and the name, Leo XIV, not chosen lightly. He invoked Leo XIV, the Pope who once saw Satan ask for 100 years to destroy the Church. And if those 100 years ended now, then perhaps Leo XIV is not simply a successor, but the one standing at the very brink of that prophecy's conclusion. He may be the Pope chosen to confront the end of that bargain, to face the serpent at the threshold of eternity. Cardinal Tagle, too, is no accident. Gentle, humble, beloved by the faithful of Asia, yet carrying mysteries he himself does not fully understand. Witnesses tremble as they recall the night his tongue shifted into a language not his own. Aramaic, the words of Christ himself. Some claimed they felt a chill of Pentecost, as if the Spirit descended once again. Was this miracle a gift to strengthen the bride, or a warning that the hour has come when heaven itself must speak through men to awaken a sleeping world? And, soon, Lebanon, Turkey, Nicaea. Not merely diplomatic journeys, but stages set for a divine confrontation. The 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, where the faith was defined. Now the place where the faith may be tested. Will unity be reforged in the fire of renewal, or will division splinter the Church once and for all? The factions prepare. Some dream of revolution, others of purification. And still, the Pope prays, Tagle listens, and heaven watches. The bride of Christ will not escape purification. She will be stripped, humbled, purified in blood and tears, until only her true beauty remains. This is the path of prophecy, the path no man can avoid, and every sign points to its beginning now. But then, a shock unlike any before. For as the sun set over Rome tonight, bells tolled in a pattern never heard before. Not a call to prayer, not a call to mourning, but a warning. And those who listened said it was not the bells alone. A voice, mysterious, unearthly, seemed to ride on their echo, a voice that uttered only 3 words, "Behold, I come. The square fell silent. Pilgrims dropped to their knees. Some wept, others gasped, others trembled in awe. For if what they heard was true, then this is not only the purification of the bride. This is not only the battle for the papacy. This is the threshold of the final chapter, the dawn of the king's return. And in that moment, the Vatican shook, not from bombs, not from men, but from heaven itself. The prophecy no one thought would unfold has already begun.